Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady, and for this one I am joined by Mayo GAA journalist Chloe Lynch. This video is a preview of Mayo's upcoming season in the GAA in 2023 across all four codes, but with one major exception. This video was recorded a day before the announcement of Lee Keegan's retirement. We do talk about what could have been Lee's role in the Mayo setup in 2023 for one part of the video, but at the time this was recorded, he had not yet retired. To see a video discussing his retirement, there is another one up on the channel titled Lee Keegan Tribute. Now enjoy the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady, your host, and for this I am joined by Mayo GAA journalist Chloe Lynch to give a full preview of Mayo's season across all the codes in 2023. Now, Chloe, with Mayo, it's never boring. What are you expecting from 2023?
Well, I think the obvious is a better 2023 than our 2022 season. That's another episode in itself, as you. I'm looking forward. It's a new era. The McStay era has begun, and look, the break is over. All the buzz will be around all the counties in Ireland now, just to get back to the GA, and I'm looking forward. Nervous, but as we know, throughout the years, anything can happen, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, no doubt. That is the first code that we are going to touch on, the one that gathers all the headlines in Mayo, the men's senior football team. Obviously, you mentioned the Max Day era has begun. Talk to me about, as a Mayo fan, about that appointment, because I remember at the time, there was two star-studded camps going up against each other with some big names. Kevin McStay's camp won in the end. He comes in with Stephen Rochford, the former manager, Liam McHale, who was with him at Roscommon when he was manager there. Downey Buckley, who of course was brilliant with Kerry, and Damien Mulligan as well, another brilliant, brilliant man in that backroom team. Were you happy when this was the camp that won?
Well, I think I can speak on behalf of all Mayo fans. It was the longest wait of our life. For me personally, I was delighted. I had a great privilege of meeting Kevin at the during the club season, and wished him well as all I want for him. He was picked to do the job, and everyone was like delighted for him. But the one thing, right, that really sticks out, say if you go walking around town of Castlebar now and bump into all the GA people, the one thing I have noticed personally, just from observation, a lot of people are on the fence still. Um, they're like, oh, give him a year or so and then we will see. But I think it's people are kind of taking time to say transition out of the Horan era and like begin the new one. But Kevin served his time as a player for Mayo as well, and he knows his stuff. Like if he didn't, he wouldn't get the job. He was at all of the club games spectating, and also were the likes of Joni and Stephen Rochford as well. So as I said, it's the start of a new era, and like all Mayo fans, we just want him to do the best for our team. You know, um, in recent years, like only the past couple of years, even like our team hasn't been playing to the standard, and many people will agree with me on that. 2021 for our closest year. 2022 was just diabolical, and it's a new manager, a fresh start, and look, they did very well now on on against Sligo in their challenge match, but the it all comes down to the 20th of January against Galway.
And like obviously we'll touch on Galway, throughout this preview because they've gotten a lot better over the last couple of years now, and All Ireland finalists last year against Kerry. Um, yeah, it's interesting that you say that a lot of people in Mayo are on the fence because there are some major, major challenges ahead of Max Day right out of the gate. I mean, straight away, talk about a massive blow. Probably one of the best footballers in the country. Never mind in Mayo, Oisin Mullen off to the AFL. I mean, that's a sucker punch right out of the gate.
again, I say whole of Mayo just felt the knife in the heart. Look, look, there's not one person. If you go around asking Mayo fans, there's not one person who isn't happy for him. Like, obviously, we want to see him in the green and red this year, and we were delighted last year when the move got delayed. But you know, I said before, like we have the privilege of like the big teams like Geelong wanting to have our players, like on the other side of things, they're just lads that have been growing up playing for a club, dreaming of getting to county, and like when a big massive team like Geelong comes calling on your door, like it's very hard to say no. Like he's he's even though Oshin wasn't what 2 years for senior, like he made such an impact, and it won't be the same not seeing a pink pair of boots out in the field, but all you want is the best for the Mayo players, and everyone wishes them all the best.
Yeah, no, because you'd have to imagine that he would have been centre half back for Kevin McStay's team. You'd have to imagine he would have been one of the biggest weapons in the side. I mean, you mentioned the pink boots. Ever since 2020 when he's made his debut, he has been crucial. And him staying for 2022 was one of the main reasons why people were putting Mayo down as All Ireland contenders right out of the gate. He's that important to this Mayo side. And the fact that he's gone, I think is going to test McStay's ability a lot now, because that's one of the major aces in the pack gone. Um, yeah, who can slot in? Who will take his place in the defense? Because obviously you're looking at the one thing that was synonymous with the James Horan era was the pretty much every league game I watched with James Horan in charge. There'd be three lads starting that I'd never heard of. He seemed to pick players out of absolute thin air that I'd never seen play from minor for Mayo or under 20 for Mayo, and then he'd give them a run out with the senior side. Do you think that McStay will be a little bit more settled, that he will try and establish his back six right out of the gate in the league, that he will try and put together a unit that he's going to stick with for the championship? And then if so, who do you think he will put in as that number six?
Well, from there's five lads that have made their debut against Sligo, and there were some great lads, that have done some great minor level accomplishments, and it's very hard to know, to be honest. I prefer if Kevin just say make his plan at the start and then stick to it, and it's one that's just very hard because say like even the likes of Aidan O'Shea, he's been everywhere on the field. One match should be forward, one midfield, one centre, and like it made
Yeah,
that
one game
very
he was
very
centre
hard.
back. That made no sense. Honestly, you're hardly going to
Yeah,
play him there when the championship comes around. Why would you waste the game putting him there?
yeah. Like as I said, Kevin knows his stuff, but five new players coming into the team. From what I heard, I'm not it's like they're brilliant lads that come in like from big clubs, like, but it's just really hard to know because a forward line is where we struggle the most. We haven't we've made so many mistakes big time over the past few years, and again we have no one to kind of say make the space. Um, to be honest, like give me a few more weeks. Like wait till it gets up and running, and then like just to see how the form everyone is in, because you have the young guns, you have the veterans, and like just to see how it would cement going on as the few months go by. But for me, personally, I just hope study everyone. Just oh, he will go there, he will go perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just have it set in stone because like we want to win the main thing, and it's not going to work if you have your plans up the ball. So it'll be interesting to see, but I couldn't really pick a pinpoint on who I could see filling the spot.
Yeah, well, for me, that's that's what McStay has to do. He has to pick his back
Yeah.
six in the league and give them as much game time together and see if they work together. Because
Yeah.
the last few All Ireland champions, Kerry last year, their back six was pretty clear right from the start. It was going to be Jason Foley at fullback. It was going to be Tyg Morley at centre back. Gavin White was going to be in the half back line. Graham O'Sullivan got plenty of game time. Tom O'Sullivan was in the other corner. You knew more or less,
Yeah.
you were 80% sure who was going to play for Kerry in those games. And I think, look, they have to go with that as well. They have to go with this, a back six where they're settled on it. And obviously, as
Yeah.
well, Lee Keegan, a lot of fear around whether or not he was going to step away. How does
Um.
McStay use him?
Well, look, he has. I'm. I'd love to see Lee stay for another year. Like it's very an unsettling atmosphere, knowing whether he'll be staying or going. He has the experience. He has everywhere. He's done everything. Look, it's another hard one. I just think the most thing he needs is game time, really, because if this is the last year, you want to if he stays on and this 2023 is the last year, you want him to kind of make the most of it. I'd love to see him paired with one of the young ones, say, coming in and share off a bit of wisdom. Like, we all know like Lee can play anywhere. Like he's that brilliant of a footballer. And for me personally, I just say I'd like to see him paired with somebody. If you get me, like
Mm-hmm.
like we need like he doesn't have Oshin in his line anymore, and this is where like say one of the young ones coming in will be like here. There's a spot that needs to be filled. I have to go for it. Um, like he has his years gone with say his teammates, the veterans. If he just like the player that he is, I'd love to just see him say give the knowledge to one of the young ones and like because like considering the legend he is, why not put the wisdom on somebody else? But I'd love to see him just stay at the back where he is and just let him do his business because like he knows what he's doing. But only time will tell to see where he's put.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he's one of the best players the Mayo have ever had. I mean, he's one of my favorite players personally. I think he's outstanding. I think if you're to draw up a right half back, I've said this, I think the best right half backs I've seen, like number fives, I'd have Jack McCaffrey on the left, but on the right, I'd have one of Lee Keegan or James McCarthy or Tomas O'Shea. I think they're my three that I'm like, those three were just perfect for the position, brilliant athleticism, and just pure attacking threats, all of them. And he's crucial. I think if he stays, he will start at fullback. This is me speaking on the 8th of January. There's no like we don't know what Kevin's going in with here. If I had to predict what his back six will be for the championship, I think Stephen Cohen has a very good chance of going in there at centre back. I could see Pargo Hora potentially as an option as well. He does it for his club, Ballina Stephenites. He will be in the full back line though, I would say. I could see Enda Hessian coming in the other corner and nailing down that position.
He's one that hasn't been, even though like 2021 is when we got to see him. I'd say like even on the topic of players going ahead, he's well capable. He's one name that I expect a good 2023 for. I totally agree what you've been saying. But yeah, considering it's a new coach, maybe like you never know what's on in his head, and he could be trying to like say switch it up from again the Horan era. But that placement has worked, so I don't see why it should be changed.
Mm-hmm. And then the X factor is the wing backs for me for Mayo. The Paddy Durkin and Owen McLaughlin, like they're crucial. They have been crucial the last few years for Mayo. I mean, if you're talking about Lee Keegan getting moved out of there, you must be pretty good. And Paddy Durkin is damn good. Owen McLaughlin on the
Yeah.
other side, pure pace. That has been a huge weapon for Mayo over the last few seasons. And under McStay, it has to be, I think it's their best bet in terms of a pure threat. I think their halfback line could be so effective.
Like Paddy is coming back from injury. And Owen McLaughlin was out for a bit of the club season, but he's back fighting fit. And both lads, very respected club members, with Caspar Mitchell and Westport. Westport just winning the Mayo club season. So like on an we have the players, right? We like not being biased, obviously, but we have the outstanding players. Paddy Durkin, Machine, or McLaughlin, outstanding, like Ryan O'Donoghue. But in my opinion, there's some lads that have been there for a good while that need to step up. You know, like Stephen Cohn, he just wasn't given enough um game time, and we couldn't really judge him a lot. And like he was captain last year, and I think he's captain again this year. But like some of even again into Hessian, like I'd love to see him back up. I just want for the new year, like everyone just to get their opportunity, because as I said, like we have the players. We have a brilliant man, hopefully brilliant management on the way, and it's the start of hopefully what will be a good season.
Yeah, so that is my prediction. I'm predicting he's going to go Henley and goal, O'Hara, Keegan and Hessian full back line, Durkin, Stephen Cohen, and Owen McLaughlin half back line. Now that's speaking at the very beginning of January. We don't know what the road ahead looks like, which brings us on to midfield, which I think is another problem area for Kevin McStay here now. Jordan Flynn, I thought he performed pretty well in midfield last year. I thought he looked like he was a promising fit there alongside Matthew Uran. Matthew Uran is the rock. He's not going anywhere. He's number 8 there for Mayo. But who do you think is his number 9? Because ever since, Seamus O'Shea, Tom Parsons, ever since they left, James Horan chopped and changed a good few lads into that. Connor Loftus was one that I never liked. Connor Loftus in midfield. I thought he's a forward. He's not a midfielder. Um, but then Jack Carney, Jordan Flynn, like who do you think should go? Aidan O'Shea as well. Who do you think should stick with Matthew Ryan in midfield?
Well, as you said, Matty isn't going anywhere. My personal pick, it's between Aidan O'Shea and Jack Kearney. Jack Kearney is early 20s, unreal. When he's given the chance, he takes it, and 90% of the time, he takes advantage of opportunities. But the big question over the year was like, where is Aidan O'Shea best? And for me, that's midfield. Like he has say like if it does go ahead, he has Matthew beside him, like his clubmate. They know each other inside out. Um, I kind of just, it's when you form, say even that relationship, it's been formed over the past few years. Um, like I'd love to see Matthew and Aiden together. But Jack Carney, he's he's been class over the past season, and I'd love to see him given a run. But we all know the player Aiden O'Shea is. Like he has obviously every GA player has their good days and their bad days. But for me, when you look at stats and like games throughout the past few seasons, his best position is midfield.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, obviously Aidan O'Shea. So I kind of agree. I would put Jack Carney there alongside Matthew Ryan. Jordan Flynn though is one that I like. I would genuinely give Jordan Flynn some game time. He'd be kind of, I know obviously given a Dublin reference, but the Dennis Bastick to Michael Darragh Macaulay, Brian Fenton, like the guy that came in, when they needed a bit of fresh legs in midfield, needed to spice it up. Macaulay or Bastick would come off replaced by the other one. I think that is a good way to go for Mayo going forward. You mentioned Aidan O'Shea. I've never seen a player get more stick for nothing. He's not really a controversial guy. He doesn't really say anything. He doesn't like. He's not coming out on social media saying mad things, and yet people seem to just say he should be dropped. He's never that good. I think he's a brilliant footballer. I think he's a fantastic footballer, but
Yeah,
I think his
like
size actually does him a disservice because he's so big. And I think there was one game where he's played Sligo and Aidan O'Shea caught the ball about 5 times and scored
yeah,
goals
yeah,
off it. And I think that game was the worst game that ever happened to Aidan O'Shea, because then people that watch it and don't really understand the actual, way to do that just assume that he should be able to do that against Dublin, assumed he should be able to do that against Kerry, as if it's that easy. And Mayo
Yeah.
didn't help him. Rochford didn't help him. Horan didn't help him, because whenever they put him in full forward, they just lobbed the worst ball in on him that I've ever seen kicked to a full forward. And just like, well, you're 6'5", so you should be able to do it. Where did they use
Like
him this year? Because he's still a brilliant
like
player.
to be honest, I think the outside bit of stick, as you said, is kind of getting in, and we don't know how that affected him mentally either. I have like a Mayo GAA icon. I don't care what anyone people say. Any people say he has served his time. I'm not saying the clock is ticking, but like he's outstanding. Say if you see him in the anywhere, like you see the size of him, and like many people be like, who on earth would have the guts to go and tackle that man? Um, I met the first time I met him was at Brafey versus Gary Moore in the kind of centre of excellence. Like, he's a brilliant player off the pitch. I was the only fan left, and all I wanted was an autograph. And he could have easily just walked by me and said, "Here, nice to see you," blah blah. Took time, signed an autograph, and for personally made my day. Um, he's served like I don't know why people think he's a bad guy, because look, maybe the early days were his best, and look, age as well a big factor in any GA career. He's the clock is like the years are coming up in him as well. People will be there showing the hatred, and like say tomorrow he could announce his retirement, and they'd all take that back, and that's another that comes again, and like say the abuse Robbie got for 2016, and people don't look. He hasn't been playing his best, but he's been an outstanding servant, and it baffles me to this day. But he's an icon, and forever will be a male legend. But for McStay had to use him wisely, because as you said, he hasn't been used great over the past few years. We all know what he can do on the pitch, outstanding footballer, but he's just one that his placement has to be put right. Um, he's like in every match. Sometimes you just again don't have your good days, bad days, but he's like he knows again another player who knows what he's doing. It's just one that McShay has to get right, and just keep him there. Don't be putting him left, right, and center. Just pick position and keep him there, because maybe it's the unsettled of not saying having a proper position on the pitch is maybe getting to him. And I think for 2023, Aiden just has to, like the rest of them, just play to full potential. And we all know what he can do, and it's his job to translate that on the pitch.
Yeah, he's kind of, in terms of a media perspective, a lot of people are kind of talking about him as if he's like Wayne Rooney. Remember when Wayne Rooney was with England at the end, when they were in Euro
Yeah,
2016, and people were saying, "Oh, Hodgson just has to play Wayne Rooney somewhere," so they were playing in midfield just to play him, like as if Rooney wasn't a good player anymore. It was like, Aidan O'Shea is still a brilliant Gaelic footballer. He's been played in positions that he doesn't play in. He doesn't play full forward for Brave. He plays midfield. He's had to change his game around for every different coach that comes in and throws something at the wall, hoping that it sticks. This season, if McStay is going to play him, his best position is centre half forward. I'd be confident saying that. They have Ruan and Jack Carney and Jordan Flynn to run the midfield. Let Aidan O'Shea focus on winning ball and moving it on. That's what he's good at. That's what he's good at. And if you're going to play him full forward, please, for the love of God, hit him good ball into him. Don't just assume because he's tall you can just fire the ball up into the clouds and that he'll be able to make something of it. We've seen for years now under James Horn that doesn't work. Like I remember the
Yeah,
Dublin Mayo semi-final in 2015. As a Dublin fan watching that, I was like, what are Mayo doing? Because Aidan
yeah,
O'Shea was being marked by Philly McMahon, Rory O'Carroll, and Michael Fitzsimons. And Mayo were firing the worst ball into him. And then he was getting stick that he wasn't doing anything with it. I was, what is this backwards logic? But I think he's an outstanding player. And I think Mayo should use him in 2023. I think they should play him centre forward. And then if the game needs a bit more pace, because Mayo do move quicker with the ball when he wasn't on the pitch. They moved quicker with the ball against Dublin, particularly in that semi-final in 2021. But I still think
yeah.
Aidan O'Shea should start. And then at 40 minutes, if they need to up the pace, if they need to use the youth that they have, the talent that they have, I think Aidan O'Shea should be substituted like he was in that game. I think he should.
Yeah. Like
Because
people
that is
kind
one
of,
thing. But I think McStay needs to have that conversation with him and say, like, look, okay, this is the role that you're going to have this year. You're still one of our key players, but we're going to use you like this. No more full forward, center forward, and
yeah.
you're a ball mover, you're a ball winner. And he's one of the best at winning ball.
See, like a bit of stick, the bit, the stick he's been getting, like, say, like, every player in Ireland is guilty of, say, throwing a bit of a hissy fit and getting a stupid yellow, red, or black bush, and that's, he has done that frequently, and, like, as I said, as we've been saying, like, you know, just put the head down and, kind of just work on just mentality as well
Yeah,
as
but
performance.
Clyde, this is a man that played at full back as well in an All Ireland semi final twice against Kerry. He managed to switch his game up that much to move back and mark Kieran Donaghy in an All Ireland semi final and got the better of him. Got the better of him in
Yeah.
the second game playing a fullback. So clearly he's a very talented Gaelic footballer.
Like as we said, time will tell, but I'm praying that 2023 is a better one for him. And like, as he said, he's been everywhere. He can do it. And that will be, considering he has been moved a lot and can do it, will be a kind of a big up for Kevin. But just like he just needs to kind of get the head screwed on good and just we all know what he's capable of, and I just really hope he puts the performance on the pitch.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then, of course, the other challenge for Max Day is, of course, the forwards. And that has been, and I said it to you off air, I can't remember the last time that Mayo ever went into a championship with all their six best forwards, ready and fit and fully 100%. Killian O'Connor out for 2021, Tommy Conroy out for 2022. They've just had injuries left, right, and centre. What front six do you think Max Day should go with in 2023? And then which forwards would you be looking at for him to try and get the best out of? Off the top of my head, I'm looking at Fionn McDonough. I'm looking at James Carr, two players with such raw potential. And there's a world beater in both of them, I think.
Well, like first choice, obviously Killian. Look, it didn't go as well last year, but um, I don't think I'll ever forget the goosebumps when when he came on against Kerry in Croke Park during the league final as a sub, and like just feel the uplift that like he was back. Um, he's another man that um has to have a good 2023 because the I won't repeat myself, but new era, all that. Um, uh, Tommy is back in training. His knee is, oh, from what I've heard, it's looking good. He's we were before he got injured at the Sixton during Sickerton, like he's on such a role. We all know the potential him he has. Such a great player both on that pitch. And then Ryan, look, he picked up the where Killian left off and he got injured. And I've said it like 100 times, the pressure that he had to. We know he can stand under pressure because, like, look at the predicament he was put into. Um, then Fionn, like, he's had the successful Westport this year, and well capable. He's just another man that like I'm dying just to be like here, give me a bit of playtime. Um, but like obviously Kevin is gonna pick, like Kevin will pick Killian, and like it's kind of then like working who will back him up. Tommy, I want to see back on that pitch. James Carr is one that he's performed when he's gotten chances, but like I don't get the logic right here. He's there. He's had some great times, right? And like he's done very well on the pitch, and like no game time. I just don't get that logic. Um, he's a proud Arda man, and I think another man well capable. It's just like it's kind of a big question, like you have all these players, like why aren't you giving them game time? But like to be honest, I think it's the top three is Killian, Tommy, and Ryan, and then like you have your backups then Phil McDonough, James Kerr, but that another section say on the field that needs big work. Look, if you watch all the male matches that have gone back over the years, how many forwards have missed great chances, and like it's to be honest that like it even though the forward line isn't really our biggest struggle, it's still a struggle. Like for me, our biggest struggle is midfield. As we were saying, um, look, we have great forwards and some great county men, and um, I just think, the logic is always like Killian O'Connor. Like, look at his stats. Um, but it'll be interesting. Would he not like as we were saying, like will he give the likes of Tommy another back run back? But you have to be wary then of the knee. Um, Ryan, look, he had a great game against Sligo in that challenge match. Another man that's well capable. Come back from injury, and we all know the players they are. But for me, I think Kevin will go with Killian. But for me, my personal preference would either be Ryan or Tommy, just to get them back into the swing, considering the amount of time they've missed. But we have, as I said, great players. It's just another strategic question, like planning. But for me, I just think Kevin is going to go with Killian.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, the talent that they have. I mean, you're talking off the top of my head here. You got Killian O'Connor, James Carr, Aidan Orme, Sean McDonough, Diarmuid O'Connor, Aidan O'Shea, Ryan O'Donoghue. Like, there's no way Connor Loftus. There's no way there's not six good forwards to make there.
To pinpoint just one name, you said Jim O'Connor. There was one game during the club, it didn't go his way, and like I remember just being in McHale Park and everyone's like, a county player did that, a county player did that. I just Steve Diarmuid in particular, another man that it's just things haven't been going his way. Like again, like I don't know how many times we know I've said like we know what he can do. Um, like it's not like Kevin is short for a pick, as we've been saying, but it's a hard one. But um, I just think Killian being who he is, like it once I kind once this Galway game comes around and just see once say the team is announced, like we'll get a feel for say what Kevin has like in his mind. But say the last few names you mentioned, the main massive thing is they haven't been getting game time, and like all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're out today, and like you're just like sugar. Like I have to remember how to even do this. Um, as I said, we're not sure for chances, but like it'll be an interesting to see who's forward come the goal again.
No, I agree. I think James Carr should be his guy, a guy that he really looks at in 2023 and really says, look, because James Carr has kicked the best goal that I've ever seen in a Gaelic football match ever against Galway in round four of the qualifiers. That one that went viral because how ridiculous it was. He's also kicked outrageous points. Like the guy has ability stacked on abilities, unbelievable talent there. I think, look, I think McStay should put a lot of effort into getting the absolute best out of him. I'd be interested to see Tommy Conroy play centre forward for his club. I'd be interested to see if he tried that in the league. You know, pure pace from the half forward line. Ryan O'Donoghue.
Yeah.
I'd go with a front six of. I would go right now again January. I'd go to front six of either Phil McDonough or Conor Loftus on the right half forward position, Ryan O'Donoghue centre or Aidan O'Shea centre. Then on the left, Jim O'Connor nailed on. Full forward line, Killian O'Connor, James Carr, and either Tommy Conroy or Ryan O'Donoghue in that corner there. It would be an interesting one to see who he goes with. There's obviously other names there like Aidan Orme. You know, he's obviously right in there with a shout. It'd be interesting to see how they go. Brings us on to the next one. We keep talking about Galway. Galway looked damn good last year, and they brought you a lot of young players, the likes of Jack Glynn, and there's more to come. Tom O'Culhan, Matthew Tierney obviously brought you last year as well, even though he got game time in previous seasons. But they've really brought you a lot of strong players, and they've got Ian Burke back next year, 2018 All Star. He's back with them. Mayo's goal this year, I think, a realistic one if you're talking to teams in terms of a team in transition. Their first goal should be to retake Connacht. Their first goal should be we need to beat Galway in Connacht. We need to claim the Connacht title again. We need to establish a base to jump at the All Ireland from. I think they need to beat Galway. They need to feel like the kings of the province again before they can feel confident enough to go for the All Ireland title.
Like, from a Mayo perspective, like, our fights with Galway are always good ones. Last year, like Galway were last year Galway were just unexpected, um, perspective good team for the All Ireland. Like, if you asked me last year, like who would be in the All Ireland final, like the I would not, like many people, I would not have said Galway. Um, Look, Mayo, like when we faced Galway back in April in McHill Park, that was one we should have won in our own home turf. Embarrassing, humiliating. I won't go on, but they've reinvented. Galway reinvented themselves. Poor Joyce has done an absolutely brilliant job. Even though I despise the football side of it, I have respect for that Galway team and what they done. And like, last year we saw them put up the fight against Kerry and look, unfortunately didn't get it, even though they were very close. Um, kind of when this game comes around, like, it kind of like say it has to be like here. These lads got to an All Ireland final. You didn't. Wake up and like as you said, reclaim Connacht. You know, we won our Connacht titles many years. I think, like we were too settled in that position, if you get me, to try and and then all of a sudden Galway are actually putting up a fight and um deserving. They had an outstanding 2022 season. Obviously, didn't get over the line they wanted to, but you know um to see how say James Horn's tactics and Kevin's will differ when it comes to the same side. Will be interesting. But like not many people again are confident considering Galway's form last year, and say like it'll take an army to bring down Damien Comer and like to see we need goals, not points for that match. And even though it's a home turf, look again. We saw what happened last April, and yeah, like as I said, it's just a wake up call and realize they're 10 times better than what they used to be, and to if Mayo like say get the upper hand. maybe it'll be a bit of a boost. You never know, considering we haven't recent years we haven't done a lot to beat Galway, and I just think it's a lot of planning, a lot of homework to be done. Like I'd say to the male lads here, just rewatch this All Ireland final last year, see what went wrong, see can you make that any better on the pitch, and I know, as I said, Mayo versus Galway is always a cracker game, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And hopefully, I'm not being biased, but if they just play their cards right, hopefully a Mayo win.
Yeah, no, I think like it should sting Mayo because right now I think Galway are ahead of them, and 2022 Galway were better than them, and they beat them, they won Connacht, they made it to the All Ireland final. Mayo need that, they need that to hurt to get over them. Then, I think
Yeah,
Mayo need that turbo boost. They need a boost. They need a win. They need to win something. They need silverware in the cabinet in 2023. McStay needs to win something early because why I'm saying Connacht is because I think in All Ireland, in terms of the last 5-6 years, I think Mayo right this year, this is a year of transition. This is a year where McStay needs to put his imprint on the team, and winning an All Ireland in your first year like that is pretty rare. Um, so I'm not predicting them really to win the All Ireland this year. I think it's between Kerry and Dublin. Obviously, with Dublin getting Mannion back, Jack McCaffrey back, they're going to be back better than ever. Like I think, look, try win Connacht. Have a nice chilled out league because Mayo in the last few seasons in the league, 2019 they won it, Division 1, 2020 they were relegated, 2021 they were promoted, 2022 they made it to the final, and then David Clifford tore them apart in Croke Park. A nice chilled out league where they finish fourth, fifth, and McStay goes into the championship knowing who his back six are, knowing who he's putting with Matthew Ruan, and having a decent idea on what the forwards he wants to use in the championship are. That's a success. Then
like
smash
say,
Galway and Connacht to try and win back the province and then take a shot at the All Ireland. I think that would be a good year for Mayo this year.
say if like away from the football side, say if like Mayo start having a bad league, it'll be like here Kevin out, and like kind of going towards English football. Um, to be honest, a lot of people like aren't really bothered about the league, but it's the start of seeing what form they're in, and like I obviously want them to have a good league, but as you said, the bigger picture is Connacht and the All Ireland. We will be coming. Like for me personally, I have to judge when I see a bit more form. Like kind of, as you said, we're relegated, then come back, and one relegated and come back, and like, it's like, when say if you have it's a bad league, all the media's gonna be like, here, Mayo are done for, Mayo are done for, and that'll get into the lads' heads. A lot of people, like I'm all for, a lot of people don't really realize the mental aspect of that as well, and I'm kind of really passionate about that. Um, as you said, like Connacht is the focus, but like don't have a brilliant league, don't have a bad league, have a decent, because like that's when everyone with Joe Brawley, Pat Spillane will come out and be like, here, Mayo are done for, Mayo. And I think if they, as you said, focus on Connacht, but just have a decent league.
Yeah, I think if they do what we've said, if McStay manages to replace Oisin Mullen at centre back, if he manages to sort out the partner for Matthew Ruan in midfield and pick his six forwards, and then have a nice chilled out league as you said, and win Connacht, and then have a shot at the All Ireland. They've got nothing to lose there. I think Mayo fans should be happy with that for 2023. Moving across then to the Mayo ladies footballers, a great year for them last year. All Ireland semi final, put in a great display, two All Stars there. And, definitely a lot of optimism there going into 2023 now with Michael Moyles. What can they do?
Like as like I did not expect the girls to get as far as they did last year. Like at the podcast we were doing last year, everyone was shocked. well capable. Again, well capable. Have the players. Like again, Daniel Covell, Shauna Howley got the All Stars. That bigger boost. Um, Look, again, they weren't brilliant. They just fell short against Kerry, and they got to Croke Park, haven't won it since 2003. Um, they have a lot of momentum going into next year. And like, Mike Mullins, I can't praise that man enough. He's done excellent with those girls. He when he came in, he had to try and rebuild Mayo ladies Gaelic football, and he's done an absolutely brilliant job. You want him because he's getting over. He's done a great job so far. You want him to get over the line so bad, obviously. Like those girls, they just like as any team say, they make the unfortunate mistakes, but like again, well capable. Like like say if the likes of me, they're just on a whole different world when it comes to the level that they're playing at. They came down to the kind of centre of excellence for the Play for Emma game. And at there was even times in say that match that Mayo were actually leading them, and they I know that was only a challenge match, but like to say even nowadays to say even you were ahead just to say by 2 points the All Ireland champions, I think that's big. Um, it's kind of as I said, like, and the likes of Catherine Sullivan, leading the team again, and you have the likes of Laura Brennan, she's fantastic in goals. Saoirse Lally is hopefully on the mend back to action. For her age, like she's the same age as me, and like I feel so underachieved. Like she's brilliant on the field again. Danielle got her year and had a fantastic year. And like, she got the award to prove it. Shauna Howley, fantastic for Knockmore and for Mayo as well. And like, she got her deserved award. I just think like once like, they play Cork on the 22nd, from what I remember in the Dome in at the Connacht Centre of Excellence, and they kind of maybe again like same as strategy as the men have a smooth league, and then going into the All Ireland series, they know like they know what they can get to go park. Like why can't I don't see why they can't do it again. Um, like they just have to be again weary of injuries, and just kind of keep the head down and just they can do it. And it say like as a fan, it just you want them that damn well they can do it, and you just want them to get over the line. And look again, Michael Moyles, I like he's been doing a fantastic job, and I can't see why. Look, they got to quarterfinals, what quarterfinals or semis, like that was one more step and you're in the final, like but I have big hopes for those ladies. They're well capable of doing it, and I cannot wait to see what they get up to in the new year, in the new season, and hopefully a bit of more silverware will be coming across to Mayo.
No, I mean, like the championship next season is going to be really, really interesting because obviously you have Meath, potentially going to be looking a bit different next year. Eamon Murray no longer the manager there. They are the champions. You've got Kerry who made massive strides last year. Armagh are always a side that I'm just waiting for them to explode. Like every year they put up massive score lines in games. Amy Mackin is one of the best footballers I've seen. Like, and then you've got Dublin, of course, going into a transition now. They were taken out in the semi-final, but no, sorry, in the quarterfinal, wasn't it, by Donegal? And then, you've got Donegal there themselves with the McLaughlins, how good did they look last season, of Yvonne Bonner as well. Fantastic player. Mayo as well have started to put together the pieces. And that victory over Cork, I think, in last year's quarterfinal, I think that was a real statement of intent that not just for that championship, but for future championships, considering the last decade, 2 decades, has been more or less dominated by Cork. So for Mayo to beat them, I think was a real statement of intent.
Like going into the history side. like a few years ago, we were in the dumps. I'm not being dramatic, but Mayo ladies football was just in an awful place, awful state. And like once Michael came in, like it was clear again, like how it's going on with the men, new era, and like look where he got them. Like 2021, say it wasn't there, it wasn't good. Um, he had to Michael had to come in and like rebuild Mayo ladies football, and like um I've I was chatting to him at loads of games. He's a brilliant man both on and off the pitch, and say he's done his time as players and as a player, and I wouldn't want anyone else managing those ladies. Um, you know they they can do it. I've said it 100 times. Like they can do it, and I just hope that say the small mistakes are just like put to a minimum, and like like just they're like quarter finals they got to against Kerry. Like it was two more steps and you're in the final. Like it, but say like as an overall, like it's amazing how big ladies football has gotten. Say from when Mayo were in the Peter Leahy side and late era, and like look at it now, and like we nearly got to an All Ireland final. Um, I've really big again, I've really big hopes for them, and Michael has the players, he has the help that he needs to get them to where he wants to be, and again, um, brilliant ladies, well skillful, and I just think if they if they get their plan right, again, they'll look. We could see them in an All Ireland final. I'm being optimistic because I know they can do it.
Yeah, no, I'd back them as a dark horse for the All Ireland. I really, really would. I think they have the players. Um, I think they have that kind of energy about them that is almost similar to Meath when they came up. Obviously, different circumstances. Meath had come up from the intermediate championship as champions and just gave it a lash. But Mayo are in the same boat here. They do have nothing to lose. They are dark horses. Um, the one thing that they need to tighten up on though is their game management. They need to get better at that because last year there were a couple of times where teams got the run on them and they didn't, too much that they couldn't pull it back. I mean, you think of the defense, you know, conceding 4 goals to Kerry in the All Ireland semi final was their undoing. They scored more points than Kerry, but if you concede 4 goals in an All Ireland semi final, you don't really, you shouldn't go through. It would be a surprise if you did
Yeah.
go through. On top of
One
that,
thing,
Meath in the league semi final, Meath scored 2 goals and 5 points in a row unanswered. And that was a period of play that Mayo didn't recover from. And then the first game of the championship, the game which actually put them in the group with Tip, Cavan, and Dublin, Galway went 7 points to nil up. And I know Mayo to pull it back, it ended up losing by 4 points. But that period where they're getting dominated, they need to manage that better and need more
like
damage limitation.
one thing, like just to say pinpoint one thing, communication on the pitch. When I was at the Play for Emma game, many people who were seeing it right, like say if someone had the ball, like, and there was low space to, like trying to get it to someone else, like they'd be free, and like they'd be like screaming to get the ball, and like I think communication is something they really need to work on because like even though that was just a fundraiser game, you could still pinpoint a lot of things that need to be worked on. But if the like communication obviously is just one thing, but like I'm being optimistic for the new year and I'm backing them for an All Ireland final.
Yeah, no, me too. I think that they can. Like, I'm more dark horse though about it. I'm more like they could do it, but I wouldn't put them as my favorites right now. I still think Meath have the best team. I think it's how their new manager comes in and manages this team. Will he be able to kind of keep the same run of success that Eamon Murray had? Kerry as well. Like they evolved so much last season. Louise Murray, Hertig, Sheaf Roche, Paris McCarthy, they all hit new heights. Can they keep that going in 2023? Dublin as well. A powerhouse of ladies Gaelic football over the last 10 years. And Now they're in a little bit of a transition, but they still have the likes of Carla Rowe. They still have the likes of Hannah Tyrrell. They still have the likes of Jennifer Dunn. They're still going to be super strong in 2023. Donegal as well, that took them out. They're another side to watch. Armagh, Cork, all these sides coming back in. Shane Ronayne as well as Cork boss. He's a very astute manager. I think there's a lot of teams that could make the final, which is why I'm saying Mayo, more dark horses for me. I think the main thing they need to do is to just, a bit more game management when the game isn't going against, when the game isn't going in their way. Don't concede 7 points without reply. Don't concede 2 goals and 5 points without reply. Tighten it up. And that is a team that isn't that experienced. That will happen to a team like that. So when they get more experience, I think Michael Moyles will implement measures to kind of improve this. And I do think it will be seriously, seriously interesting to see what happens. So yeah, I think dark horse. Let's see what they can do in 2023. Congratulations as well, of course, to Danielle Caldwell and Shauna Howley receiving the All-Star Awards that they did last season, much deserved. And then, of course, with the small ball, hurling and camogie, positivity around there. Mayo on the up in the hurling anyway. They made, of course, the Christy Ring final. They lost to Kildare, but Kildare, when you look at the progress that Kildare have made, you look at Nace beating the Offaly champions Shinrone and putting up a great performance against Ballyhale Shamrocks in the Leinster Club hurling semi-final this year. You realise the Kildare really are on the up. And Mayo losing to them in that final was not a bad feat. I'd prefer to look at the fact that they finished above Derry. That's a massive sign of improvement because Derry have a strong hurling tradition there. Clubs like Slough-Neil, and the fact they finished above them shows promise.
Like, see, this coming Saturday, touring hurlers are in the All Ireland Intermediate final, and a lot of those lads are obviously on the Mayo panel, and look, I think, see, if they're victorious, like, that'll be a massive boost. New management coming in as well, it can't be forgotten, and look, if they say if touring get this All Ireland Intermediate win, like, that's a massive boost going in as generally, and like, obviously we had the victories over the few years, but like, we're not on a good level, if um and there's a lot of work to be done, but a few we didn't think we'd get to a Christy Ring, got it, and it's like, excuse me, like, you have to be optimistic, going in for everything. Um, to be honest, like, they didn't have a good start to their first match of the year at the dome in the dome, and um, it's a hard one because um, it could go anywhere because we're not say on a our hurling standard say isn't our football standard, but like, we'll just play it out and see how it goes, and like, hopefully, all going well, say touring will come back with their the All Ireland medals and give them a bit of a well needed boost and kind of wake up, because the Mayo hurlers haven't been having good years, and say if, like, it all goes well this Saturday for touring, like, it'll bring a massive boost, and hopefully we'll get a few good results out of it.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, look, they have one of the most consistent forwards in the competition in Shane Boland. I think he really led the way. He scored 152 in the competition. He was their go-to guy. That being said, a little bit too much. They relied on him a lot. I mean, like, he top scored for them in every game. They need someone to take, to the mantle off him a little bit sometimes. That's something that they can look into maybe in 2023. Someone that can give Shane Boland a bit of a dig out so that when they get to the final, because I think that they have someone else to turn to. They got to the final of the Christy Ring last year. They fell short. This year, their goal has to be to win the Christy Ring. That's what I would say for them in the season of 2023. So that is the end of our Mayo season preview for 2023. It will be, again, no doubt, another season filled with drama, filled with entertainment. Chloe, thanks very much for coming on today to preview this season with me.
Thanks a million for having me.
No worries, guys. Thank you for giving me your time. Hope you enjoyed. And until the next one, take care.